Hey guys, it's Katie. This video is the second on a series about what causes weight fluctuations. Make sure that you watch the preceding videos leading up to this one and then hit subscribe so that you don't miss the next video.
Keep in mind that these represent, we'll call them artificial reasons why your body is fluctuating or why your weight is fluctuating. Right. It doesn't necessarily represent increases in fat mass or increases or decreases in lean mass. These are all sort of artificial ways that your body's manipulating weight. These are not things that we need to really focus on and kind of stress out about, because we do know by educating ourselves, we know that, oh, this is just a fluctuation. It doesn't actually mean I'm getting fatter.
Exactly. Especially, and we know this particularly because you can see huge weight fluctuations in some people within the same day.
Big time.
And you're not really going to see any appreciable increase in fat mass with overeating on the same exact day. There's diurnal changes in hormones that happen that then can cause an increase in water weight, and not just hormones, but other things like eating throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And you're not necessarily peeing all that out or having bowel movements or anything. So all of this is adding up on the scale. That's why we always ask people to weigh themselves first thing in the morning, before eating, after going to the bathroom. We're trying to establish a baseline level for weight where we're being consistent.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be able to identify changes that are really taking place, is if we are being consistent.
Yeah. I think that, in the morning, before you eat or drink anything, after you use the restroom, that's kind of when the error bar is the smallest. So we always want to mitigate that error bar, kind of reduce how much potential error there is in that measurement, so that we can get the most accurate measurement, so that therefore we can give you the most accurate adjustments to your macros.
This leads us to our next thing that can cause an artificial increase in weight that's unrelated to fat loss or gain, right? Okay. Or changes in weight. And that's the menstrual cycle. And
I'll let you take this one, Katie.
Yeah, I'm a little more experienced in this area than Mike is.
Yeah.
And I'm not even the most experienced, right? Because I actually got pretty lucky, and I don't experience much of a fluctuation usually. Now, and that's the funny thing, is that whether you see an increase in weight depends on the woman. And it also depends on the period. I've had some where I do gain some weight, and others where I gain nothing. And most of the time I don't, but you can have those nasty ones where hormones are really whacked out. So what's happening is this change in hormones that happens monthly that is going to result in weight gain for some women, just retaining fluid. And I've seen women gain up to 10 pounds with this. I had former clients in the past who would literally gain up to 10 pounds. And the length of time that they experience this elevated weight, and when that starts occurring, when weight starts going up, differs from woman to woman. Now, typically for the typical woman, what we'll see is an increase in weight around 3 to 5 days before starting a period. But some women have reported being a week or more outside and starting to see this increase in weight. And then usually you'll see a drop in weight a couple days after starting the period. But again, I've seen women experience about 8 days, within 8 days of starting their period, they'll start to retain extra fluid. And then that will continue even up to a week after, which can really mess things up. It's very, very frustrating, especially if you're on fat loss and for 2 weeks you see really great progress. And then all of a sudden it's a week before starting your period and you see this massive elevation in weight that goes up every day. You're retaining more and more fluid, and then it stays elevated a full week after you start your period. That's 2 weeks out of the month that your weight is high. So another famous one, though, that can cause an artificial weight gain is lack of sleep. And Mike and I have both rode that train.
Yeah, into the ground.
Into the ground. Mike is currently on that train.
A little bit.
The anti-gains train.
Yeah. It's a struggle, but
And it's amazing how much happens when we sleep. This is a really delicate cycle. Our brain goes through these 4 stages of sleep, and they're all really important for cognitive function. But also all these hormones tend to be tied to our sleep patterns, right? Mm-hmm. So melatonin, for instance, as you get closer to nighttime, your body starts to release more melatonin, and that will help you go to sleep. And the melatonin release is impaired by bright objects with blue light, like our phones, our computers, that can interfere with the timing of when you fall asleep. Yeah. And of course, this has an effect on other hormones as well, because other hormones fluctuate when you go to sleep. For instance, Cortisol. Cortisol tends to decline. It's the highest in the morning, and then it declines towards the nighttime, and it's low when it's time to go to bed, and then it will ramp up again in the morning. And that's part of the awakening response. Yeah, so that's one of the hormones. And then growth hormone, right? Growth hormone goes up gradually as we get deeper into sleep, and that's going to help with repairing tissues in the body and also liberating fat, right? Mobilizing fat as you sleep, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. As you sleep, you're going to be burning calories because your organs and tissues, they all require calories just to live. So you'll burn, depending on your base metabolic rate, you'll burn like 600 to 800 calories a night just sleeping without moving around, without activity, because that's what your body requires just to live.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, you're fasting while you're sleeping, you know? They call it breakfast for a reason, because you're breaking fast.
Yeah.
You ever think about that?
You know, I did when I was writing the intermittent fasting article. I was like, wow, it's so clever.
Yeah. It's
so
actually
clever.
the same in Spanish too. Desayuna.
Oh.
Like desayuno is breakfast, like desayuna. Ayuna means fast, so like breaking fast.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's so important, like that idea is so important that that's in different languages.
Perpetuates across all cultural barriers.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Insulin is also affected, and appetite hormones, by the length of time that you sleep and the quality of your sleep. So what we see typically is that ghrelin goes up when you don't get enough sleep. And leptin is also affected, so you feel more hungry. And after a poor quality night of sleep, the next day people have trouble controlling their intake because they're just so darn hungry. And their their sensitivity to insulin is also reduced. So everything, all of this can affect your body weight.
Yeah.
But have you ever noticed like how if you have a poor quality night of sleep like tonight, like maybe you're looking a little bit puffy?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. You're not. But I notice it with myself. Some people are more susceptible than others.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like we've all experienced when your face is kind of puffy, your eyes are a little bit, swollen, feels. That's kind of a typical experience I think most people have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I just know when I was training for those contests and we were looking at my weight every morning, a bad night of sleep, I'd see myself several pounds up.
Yeah.
And I didn't change my food intake. I didn't change any other factor. It was that one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it affects it, man.
Yeah, I get frustrated with the fitness industry because they're so hardcore. And for a long time, they were all about, never miss a workout, even if it means that it interferes with your sleep. No, and then that was perpetuated. I remember Arnold had like a quote that said, sleep faster.
Yeah. He's like, you should only sleep 6 hours. If you need 8 hours, sleep faster.
faster.
Yeah.
And I just think it's funny, but it's the wrong message to be sending because sleep is so important.
That's when you're most anabolic, right? That's when your body's like putting together all the new muscle tissue to kind of make you grow, right? And kind of repair everything that's been damaged through the workout. By working out more, you're just breaking more stuff, really, at the end of the day. So you want to be able to sleep so you can repair that and make gains, make progress. That's what it's ultimately all about.
And you don't want your appetite hormones being all awry when you're trying to diet. Yeah. Your success rates are going to plummet drastically, and no one likes getting up and being higher on the scale and just feeling like crap in general. So there's a lot of reasons to focus on getting good sleep. Yeah. This is a nice segue into the timing of your last meal, because if you eat later, closer to sleep, closer to the time that you're going to bed, sometimes that can also cause a jump in the scale. But again, it's not related to fat gain, guys, okay? Yeah. It's not like if you're eating later, this is going to cause you to store more fat. No, but if you do have a high carb meal before bed and you're not moving around afterwards, obviously, because you're going to go to bed and you're going to sleep, you're going to store more glycogen. Yep. And for every gram of glycogen, remember, you're storing 3 grams of water, and that can really add up.
Yep.